My name is Andrea, and I am 37 years old. I am a single mother to a beautiful 10-year-old daughter named Ava. Ava is my entire universe. She is the reason I wake up every morning and the reason I fight through every single day. She's the reason I never gave up on myself. But there was a time when I almost did. There was a time when I believed I was worthless. There was a time when I believed I would never amount to anything. I was 16 years old and I was lost. My parents had divorced when I was 12. My mother worked 2 jobs to support us. She was exhausted and stressed. She did not have time for me. I did not blame her. She was doing her best. But I was lonely. I was angry. I was confused. I started hanging out with the wrong crowd. I skipped school. I got into fights. I failed my classes. I was spiraling out of control and nobody noticed. Nobody cared. I was invisible. I was a ghost. I walked through the hallways of my high school like I did not exist. I did not exist to most people, but I existed to my English teacher, Mrs. Patterson. She noticed me. She watched me. She judged me. She hated me. I do not know why she hated me. I had never done anything to her, but she looked at me with disgust every time I walked into her classroom. She would make snide comments about my clothes and my hair. She would roll her eyes when I asked questions. She would mock me in front of the class. She made me feel small. She made me feel worthless. She made me feel like I was nothing. One day, she called me to her desk. I walked up to her with my head down. She looked at me with cold eyes. She said, "Andrea, I want you to know something. You are never going to amount to anything. You are a waste of space. You are a failure. You will end up in jail or dead. Mark my words." I felt like I had been punched in the gut. I could not breathe. I could not speak. I just stood there in shock. She dismissed me with a wave of her hand. I walked back to my seat in a daze. I looked at the other students. They were staring at me. Some of them were laughing. I felt so humiliated. I felt so ashamed. I wanted to disappear. I wanted to run away. I wanted to die. I walked out of that classroom and I never went back. I dropped out of school that week. I believed her. I believed I was worthless. I believed I was a failure. I believed I would never amount to anything. I gave up on myself. I gave up on my dreams. I gave up on my future. I was 16 years old and I had already given up. I spent the next few years drifting. I worked minimum wage jobs. I lived in cheap apartments. I had no direction. I had no purpose. I had no hope. I believed what Mrs. Patterson had told me. I believed I would never amount to anything. I believed I was a failure. I believed I was worthless. I did not try to prove her wrong. I did not try to change my life. I just accepted my fate. I accepted that I was nothing. I had given up on myself and nobody was going to save me. Nobody cared. Nobody noticed. I was invisible to the world. I was invisible to everyone. I was invisible to myself. Then I found out I was pregnant. I was 22 years old and I was pregnant with a child I was not ready for. The father left as soon as he found out. He said he was not ready to be a father. He packed his bags and disappeared. I was alone again. I was scared. I was confused. I was terrified. I did not know how I would raise a child. I did not know how I would survive. I did not know how I would be a good mother. I thought about giving the baby up for adoption. I thought about getting an abortion. I thought about running away. I thought about giving up. But something stopped me. Something inside me said, "No, you are not giving up. You are not quitting. You are not letting Mrs. Patterson win. You are not letting anyone tell you what you can and cannot do." I decided to keep my baby. I decided to be the mother I never had. I decided to prove everyone wrong. I decided to show the world that I was not a failure. I decided to show Mrs. Patterson that she was wrong about me. I did not know how I would do it. I did not have a plan. I just had determination. I just had hope. I just had a will to survive. I made a promise to myself that day. I promised that I would never give up again. I promised that I would give my child everything I never had. I promised that I would be the best mother in the world. I kept that promise. It was not easy. It was the hardest thing I had ever done, But I kept that promise. Ava was born on a warm summer morning. I was 23 years old and I had never been more scared in my entire life. But when I held her in my arms, everything changed. Everything made sense. Everything fell into place. She was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. She had tiny fingers and tiny toes and a tiny nose. She was perfect. She was mine. I looked at her little face and I made another promise. I promised that she would never hear the words that I had heard. I promised that she would never be told she was worthless. I promised that she would never be made to feel small. I promised that I would always believe in her. I promised that I would always fight for her. I promised that I would always be her biggest supporter. I held her close and I whispered, "I will give you everything, baby. I will give you everything I never had. I will be the mother you deserve." I went back to school. I had dropped out at 16. I was now 23 and I was determined to finish. I enrolled in night classes. I studied while Ava slept. I worked during the day and studied at night. It was exhausting. I was sleep deprived. I was stressed, but I did not give up. I kept going. I kept fighting. I kept believing. I passed my exams. I got my high school diploma. I enrolled in community college. I earned my associate's degree. I earned my bachelor's degree. I earned my master's degree. It took me 10 years. 10 years of sleepless nights and endless sacrifices. 10 years of working and studying and raising a child. 10 years of proving everyone wrong. I never forgot Mrs. Patterson. I never forgot the words she had said to me. They motivated me. They pushed me. They drove me. I wanted to show her that she was wrong. I wanted to show her that I was not a failure. I wanted to show her that I was not worthless. I wanted to show her that I could achieve anything I set my mind to. I applied for a job at my old high school. I applied to be a teacher. I wanted to help students who were like me. I wanted to be the teacher that I never had. I wanted to be the person who believed in students when nobody else did. I got the job. I was hired as an English teacher at the same school where Mrs. Patterson still taught. I walked into that building 20 years after I had walked out. I walked through the same hallways. I walked past the same classrooms. I felt a mix of emotions. I felt nervous. I felt anxious. I felt proud. I felt triumphant. I walked into the teacher's lounge and I saw her. She was sitting at a table grading papers. She had not changed. She looked exactly the same. She was still cold and bitter and judgmental. She looked up at me and she did not recognize me. I walked up to her and introduced myself. I said, "Hello, Mrs. Patterson. I am Andrea. I was one of your students 20 years ago." She looked at me with confusion. She said, "I don't remember you." I said, "I was the girl you told would never amount to anything. I was the girl you told was a waste of space. I was the girl you told would end up in jail or dead." Her face went pale. She looked at me with shock. She said, "I remember you now." I said, "Good. I wanted you to see what I have become. I wanted you to see that you were wrong. I wanted you to see that I am not a failure. I am not worthless. I am not nothing. I am a teacher. I am a mother. I am a success. I am everything you said I would never be." She did not say anything. She just stared at me. I think she was ashamed. I think she was embarrassed. I think she realized that she had been wrong about me. But I did not need her apology. I did not need her validation. I did not need her approval. I had already proven myself. I had already achieved everything I had set out to achieve. I had already become the person I wanted to be. I walked away from her that day and I felt a sense of peace. I had confronted her. I had shown her that she was wrong. I had closed that chapter of my life. I was finally free. I became a teacher at that school. I taught English to students who were just like I had been. I had students who were struggling. I had students who were lost. I had students who were invisible. I saw myself in them. I saw the pain and the confusion. I saw the loneliness and the despair. I made it my mission to reach them. I made it my mission to believe in them. I made it my mission to show them that they mattered. I told them my story. I told them about Mrs. Patterson. I told them about the words she had said to me. I told them that I had believed her for a long time. I told them that I had almost given up. I told them that I had refused to let her define me. I told them that I had chosen to define myself. I told them that they could do the same. I told them that they were not failures. I told them that they were not worthless. I told them that they were not nothing. I told them that they were capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. They listened. They believed me. They started to believe in themselves. I saw them change. I saw them grow. I saw them flourish. I was so proud of them. They reminded me of myself. They reminded me of what I had overcome. They reminded me of why I had become a teacher. I had become the teacher that I never had. I had become the person who believed in students when nobody else did. I had become the person who made a difference. And that was the most beautiful feeling in the world. I knew that I was changing lives. I knew that I was making a difference. I knew that I was doing something meaningful. I knew that my students would never forget me. I knew that I would never stop fighting for them. Years passed. I continued teaching and making a difference. I was loved by my students and respected by my colleagues. I was happy. I was fulfilled. I was proud. Then I received a call from the school district. They said they were looking for a new principal. They said they wanted someone who understood the students, someone who had been through struggles, someone who could inspire others, someone who could make a difference. They said they wanted me. I was shocked. I was humbled. I was honored. I accepted the position. I became the principal of my old high school. I walked into that building as the leader. I walked into that building as the person in charge. I walked into that building as the person who had been told she would never amount to anything. I was now the principal of the school where I had been humiliated. I was now the boss of the teacher who had mocked me. I was now the person who had proved everyone wrong. I felt a sense of triumph. I felt a sense of justice. I felt a sense of pride. I had done it. I had achieved everything I had set out to achieve. I had become the person I wanted to be. I had become the person that Mrs. Patterson said I would never be. I was the principal. I was the leader. I was the success. I called Mrs. Patterson into my office. She came in looking nervous. She had never expected to see me again. She had never expected me to become her boss. She sat down across from me and I looked at her. I did not feel anger. I did not feel hatred. I did not feel bitterness. I felt pity. I felt sorry for her. She was a sad and lonely woman who had tried to tear others down. She was a sad and lonely woman who had tried to make others feel small. She was a sad and lonely woman who had failed to realize that her words had consequences. I said, "Mrs. Patterson, I have not called you here to punish you. I've called you here to thank you." She looked at me in shock. She said, "Thank me?" I said, "Yes. Because of you, I became the person I am today. Because of you, I fought to prove you wrong. Because of you, I refused to give up. Because of you, I became a teacher. Because of you, I became a principal. You were wrong about me, but I am grateful for that. Because your words pushed me to become better. Your words pushed me to become stronger. Your words pushed me to become the person I am today." She started crying. She said, "I am so sorry, Andrea. I was wrong about you. I was so wrong. I was going through my own struggles and I took it out on you. I am so sorry." I forgave her. I did not hold a grudge. I did not hold a grudge. I let go of the pain. I let go of the anger. I let go of the bitterness. I forgave her because holding on to anger was destroying me. I forgave her because I needed to heal. I forgave her because I needed to move on. I walked out of that office and I felt a sense of peace. I had closed that chapter of my life. I had finally moved on. Today I am 37 years old. I am a single mother to a beautiful 10-year-old daughter. I am the principal of my old high school. I am a success. I am everything that Mrs. Patterson said I would never be. I have achieved everything I set out to achieve. I have proved everyone wrong. But the greatest success of all is not my job or my title. It is the difference I have made in the lives of others. It is the students I have helped. It is the lives I have changed. It is the hope I have given. I look at my daughter Ava and I see my reflection. I see strength. I see resilience. I see hope. She is everything I ever wanted to be. She is everything I ever dreamed of. She is my greatest achievement. She is my reason for everything. I will never let anyone hurt her. I will protect her with everything I have. I will give her the life she deserves. And I will never break a promise to her, because that is what a good mother does. That is what love looks like. That is what strength feels like. This is my story. This is my truth. And I am sharing it with you so that you can find your own strength, so that you can find your own voice, so that you can find your own path, because you deserve it. You deserve happiness. You deserve success. You deserve love, and you will have all of it. Just keep going. Just keep believing. Just keep fighting. And one day you will look back and say, I did it. I made it, and I am so proud of myself. That day will come. I promise you. It will come. So hold on. Hold on tight, because the best is yet to come. My story is not just about a teacher who was wrong. It is about survival. It is about strength. It is about a mother who refused to let her daughter see her broken. It is about a woman who refused to let anyone define her. It is about a woman who chose to define herself. And that is the most beautiful victory of all.